Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So today, session 5 will cover fifth domain, which is network security. So this is one of my favorite domain because network security starts from computer networks. Before go to computer network domain, let's quickly check the outline for this domain. So for this particular domain, network security holds around 24% of the syllabus. So we may expect 24 questions from this particular domain, as this is not a complex domain. Most of the networking concepts are very basic and fundamental. So it's so easy to score that 24 percentage from this particular domain. So when computer, as we know, computer in olden days, it evolved from calculator, then computer, right? So that time computer was introduced, it was so powerful machine. Still, no doubt, computer is powerful. But when computers get connected together, it forms a computer network. When it forms a computer network, it does more than powerful job. Like if single computer can do X amount of work, when computers get connected together, it can multiply the outcome, right? So it's more powerful. So the primary this particular network security domain will see how computer network works, what are the threats, risk associated with this particular computers and network and systems. So network types, when connects to more than one system or device, there are network types involved. So for example, when you connect your house network, let's say you have multiple mobile devices. Let's say your parents, or your siblings might have mobile devices in your home. All your mobile devices are connected to same Wi-Fi router in your house, right? If you have wired Wi-Fi network, that forms a local area network. So local area network uses private IP ranges or private IP subnet connect to one each other. Let's say, for example, I need to share some file from my laptop to my mobile device. Without connecting internet, with the help of modem itself, I can share the files within the local area network. If you connect printer or your smart equipments like smart AC or home appliances can be connected to your local area network. So local area network used to be connecting using Wi-Fi, or in olden days, they may use wire with a switch to connect multiple local devices to talk each other. So in local area network, when you use Ethernet RJ45 cable, which is 802.3 standard, which is IEEE 802.3, if you are using wired network. If you use wireless, when you use wireless LAN, which is Wi-Fi based connectivity, which is 802.11. For exam standpoint, you must know the number and standard. 802.3 is a wired network. 802.11 is a wireless network. For example, when you use mobile hotspot, sharing your internet with another mobile phone, you are using IEEE 802.11 standard, which is wireless network. Next important item is service set identifier, which is SSID. Nothing. It is just a Wi-Fi name you are configuring. The device could identify using SSID name. Next important concept is wide area network. Wide area network, you can imagine your traffic traveling country to other country or public network, so that it can reach the different destination, the destination outside your LAN. For example, LAN could be your college infrastructure, office network, or your house network. There's a particular group of systems connected for that particular region, like a specific area, right? But using wide area network, WAN, you can connect city to city or country to country or one continent to another continent. You can connect using wide area network. For example, you are logging into YouTube or Facebook using your account, right? But Facebook server hosted in US or any other Western or US country. How the packet is connecting, right? So you are connecting to Airtel or whatever local ISP. that get connected to, undersea cables, country to country connectivity through undersea cables that connected to respective US and other side servers. So whenever you quickly connect Instagram or Facebook, the packet and traffic travels miles and miles within few milliseconds. So that way, wide area network connects, outside your local network. So whenever you make anything internet based, you are accessing website or you are accessing any internet based service which is hosted or available from US or Europe, you are using wide area network. Even within country, let's say India, Chennai to Mumbai or Chennai to other city, or your home to another city you are connecting, you are using wide area network. Personal area network is something called PAN. Primarily nowadays, if you take car keys, the automatic door lock system in our car using remote control, right? That uses personal area network, which may use the range limit would be 10 meters. Within that limit, you can lock the door, unlock the door using the key remote control. Nowadays, many other devices using this personal area network, for example, Bluetooth headset or NFC kind of a card, which can transmit signals within 10 meters space that can be used in our digital gadgets like smartwatch, Bluetooth devices, Bluetooth speakers. Those uses personal area network. So local area network, wide area network, personal area network. 3 ways we can connect multiple systems together. Okay. If systems connected in one particular premises, which is local and not exposed to internet, which is local area network, when connecting from city to another city, town to another town, or country to country or country to continent, you are using ISP network, which involves wide area network. Personal area network is again digital gadgets such as Bluetooth or car keys, which uses personal area network. Again, the summary 802.3 is wired network. 802.11 is the Wi-Fi, which is wireless LAN. Next topic is TCP/IP networking. TCP/IP protocol that runs the internet. So if you visit any website, if you visit any Android application or iOS application, that connects to their respective services, right? For example, you are using ChatGPT. You are inputting something. That converted into network traffic that is being sent via your ISP connection to the ChatGPT servers. So technically, TCP/IP runs the internet. Without TCP/IP, we cannot connect, one application to server or one device to another device. So which primarily covers transmission control protocol, and the second part is IP protocol. IP protocol used in LAN and WAN to identify source and destination, where traffic is originated, where we need to the destination address. IP address in wide area network, you can use public IP ranges, which is uniquely we can identify who is the source, who is the destination. But when it comes to LAN, each LAN uses their own private IP ranges. For example, my home, I have 192.168 subnet home network. Same network can be available in your home as well. So local area network can be duplicated because local area network is only applicable for small area, which is your house, college campus, or a company campus. But wide area network is like international destinations, like it must be unique, never be duplicate IP address given, as that is tracked through different entities and ISPs. So whenever we send up traffic that is being, fragmented into packets, each packet is kilobytes of data. When you send an image, our computer or system will not send that as an image to the destination. That convert that application into pieces called packets. Each packets may go with kilobytes. Let's say you are sending 1 megabyte of data, maybe 1 MB of data. 1 MB converted into chunks of kilobytes that is being transmitted in the wire or wireless, so that the throughput or whatever capacity in the bandwidth achieved. Otherwise, it will create a bandwidth bottleneck or packet loss. So for this exam, you just need to know what is TCP IP, what is LAN WAN, what is IP address, what is packets. That's all. That's a fundamental concepts for computer networking. So next, primarily TCP is responsible for making connection, tearing up the connection when work is done. What does that mean? I want to use ChatGPT. I go to browser and type chatgpt.com, log in. Now I do some prompt. My work is done. I'm completed my work. Now what that browser does, during active work, it makes the TCP connection. Once you are done, no interaction from you, it will automatically tear down the TCP connection so that our computer resources, network resources will not be overutilized when ideal or not used. So that mechanism by default exists in the TCP protocol. If TCP protocol doesn't see any traffic or any movement from the system, you are just connected to internet doesn't mean it will use the internet, because no interaction from your browser, no interaction from your application. So that way TCP will be tear down, connection closed, so that your network and computer resources will not be utilized when not used. Yeah. Also, TCP tracks the packets. For example, if I send an 1 MB image that converted into, let's say, 150 packets for an example, if 150 packets, when we are transmitting, whether these packets are sent or if any of the packets lost, that can be tracked. If any of the packet, let's say among 150, 1/30th packet lost in between, TCP can sense that and ask source to resend the lost packet so that only that 132 packet sent back to the receiver or destination, that would be used to compute and frame the full picture of that particular 1 MB image. This is just an example. So TCP is a reliable protocol. If number of packets sent, it can track and it can maintain the track record, as well as adjust the buffer and the speed based on the source and destination processing capacity. So it's a kind of an intelligent protocol. If you read more about TCP, you will get impressed, because this protocol was developed in a way to adjust the TCP window size, buffer, etc. It has each level of intelligence so that your source may be GPRS or 2G or 3G. Your destination may have fiber connection, but when you're connecting each other, even though you both are having different internet speed, it adjusts based on what speed you have, what level of processing capacity you have. So that level, TCP has that own intelligence. That's why it is considered as a more reliable protocol, right? So next, the ordering the packets. Let's say I'm sending 150 packets. Now I have sent 120 packet. The 30 packets remaining left. If I send after some time later, once I fix my buffer or window size adjusted, it can again reorder the packet correctly to help the destination to build the actual 1 MB image. So that way it has that capacity to instruct the ordering based on the packets that's being generated from the source to destination. So next protocol is user datagram protocol. So far we have seen TCP is a reliable protocol, but one problem with that protocol, due to that reliability and the handshake, SYN-ACK kind of a handshake happening in the TCP protocol, it takes a little bit longer. It may add more processing time because of that. There are applications you cannot wait for that acknowledgement. I will give you a few examples. For example, you are watching YouTube, you are watching movie on Netflix. When packets coming from Netflix server or YouTube server to your YouTube browser session, if there are 2 to 3 UDP packets lost in between, if I go and ask, hey, I lost 30th packet or second packet in between a YouTube server and your browser, what will happen? That portion of the video will be blacked out or some disturbance will happen. To avoid that, UDP will not expect acknowledgement. UDP, like if I am sending 100 packets from the source, push it to the destination. If anything lost, it will not send again. It will continue with that impact. That's why when you watching movie or when you're watching anything streaming media like live audio call or live video event or YouTube videos, if there is a packet loss, you will experience that impact on the screen, right? That is how UDP protocol, but advantage side, UDP protocol is much faster than TCP. So because no reliability, it operates much faster, suitable for video streaming and audio call. If you are a student or a professional, you are developing any application or software, you need to architect which protocol I need to use for what purpose. If reliability and error condition to be avoided, you need to go with the TCP. If you're okay, like my application is perfectly fine if some packets lost in the network or unable to reach the destination sometime, the impact is something like, flunky video or clunky, audio, like sometime, the sluggish video performance, that's fine. Then you can go with UDP. I will give some example why TCP can be used in some scenario. For example, take internet banking. You are sending money to someone, right, through online banking. You are filling from which account you are initiating the transaction, to whom you are sending the money, right? If there is a packet loss, let's say you use UDP now, there is a packet loss that cannot be sent back. So your transaction is partially logged or wrong information logged in the database, right? If you use UDP. But when you use TCP, if there is a packet loss, the destination will ask, hey, I lost some of the information. Can you send that back? Because TCP is reliable. That's why sensitive applications like banking or the ticket booking, these are the apps uses TCP. If packet loss is okay, I'm comfortable with the loss, slight impact is fine, then it go with the UDP, much faster. So the quick response applications might use UDP like audio, video, because that is time sensitive. If I say something, my audio reaches you late, then my voice lip sync will not happen, right? So that will create impact on live tools such as video live conference tools such as MS Teams or Zoom. So mostly 99% of the collaborative applications such as MS Teams or Zoom or Cisco applications uses UDP to transmit audio and video. All right. So for exam perspective, note down UDP lacks the reliability much faster than TCP. TCP is a reliable protocol, slower than the UDP, right? Streaming media uses UDP. That's the exam standpoint you need to remember. Next is one of the housekeeping protocol. Okay, Ismail, you have TCP, you have UDP. How can I validate my source is reachable to the destination or destination is reachable from the source? How I can validate before dumping the packet? Before sending traffic, I need to know whether I have internet, I can reach the destination, right? For that purpose, we have designed a protocol which is called Internet Control Message Protocol, which is called Housekeeping Protocol of the Internet. It is part of the TCP IP suite designed to allow networked devices and systems to communicate with each other about the operation of the network. Okay, what does that mean? For example, you open a browser. The moment you open the browser in backend, TCPs get transacted with Google and few servers. When you don't have internet, you can see Google Chrome shows some graphic interface saying that you don't have network connectivity, connect again later, or check your internet connection, right? How that happens? That does ICMP check. If ICMP check is successful through Google servers, it assumes that you have internet connection. That's how it works. If you are opening a browser and try to visit some web pages, there are web applications which uses ICMP first before sending actual application data to validate You have end-to-end connectivity from their server to your browser. Once that is done, they will start initiating the actual application traffic. So in simple term, you have made a pipe connectivity between two systems, system one to system two. Now in that pipe connectivity, whether you can send the traffic or not, they are validating with the ICMP protocol. Once that validation is done quick, next the actual data will be sent so that no interruption, application performance will not be impacted. Hope this is clear and solid, as ICMP is the ping protocol we use. Whenever internet is not connected, we'll ask network admin or user ask to ping google.com, ping particular IP address. What that ping does is basically it generates ICMP packet to the particular IP address so that they confirm from the source to that IP address destination whether that is reachable or not. So ICMP not always used in ping. Within the application, there are pings happening without even we are aware of. So the moment you use the browser, the moment you launch any application, it checks internet connectivity by using ICMP protocol. Next key topic is OSI model, OSI and TCP IP model. Most of the computer networking students must aware of OSI model because you might have computer network as a subject in your college days. But if you are from a different stream, your first time you are learning OSI model, I would suggest to remember all these 7 layers, like in OSI model, application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, physical. These 7 layers, right? The 7 layers, to remember, there are multiple ways you can use to remember as a shortcut. You see on the bottom, all people seem to need data processing. If you just remember this one phrase, from all word, take the A is application layer. People, take the P is presentation layer. S, seam, session layer. 2, the T is a transport layer. Need, N for network layer. Data, D for data link layer. P for physical layer. So this is not just one mnemonic. There are many ways people create their own phrase to remember. So whatever suits for you, you remember. But you must remember all these 7 layers for this exam perspective, because you must know layer 7 is application layer, because it comes from top to down approach. Application layer is 7th layer, presentation is 6th layer, session is 5th layer, transport 4th layer, network is 3rd layer, data link is a 2nd layer, physical layer is the 1st layer. So network layer, that's why L3 protocol, L3 network. There are keywords which refers network layer as L3, many areas. But just for exam perspective, remember all these 7 models in OSI. The equivalent model in TCP/IP, for example, first 7 to 5th layer considered as application layer in TCP/IP model. Transport layer here, call it as host-to-host layer. Network layer is called as internet layer. Data link layer and physical layer called as network access layer. So TCP/IP and OSI model you must learn. Each layer or each model, you have dedicated work or a set of process happening. So let's go with an example. For example, you have mobile phone, you have WhatsApp. You have connected the WhatsApp and sending a message to your friend who is also using WhatsApp on mobile phone. Now, you are going into application, which is WhatsApp, which uses HTTPS protocol, that is called application layer. You are in layer 7 now. Now, that data translated into encryption or whatever end-to-end encryption, whatever WhatsApp uses, that get into presentation layer. Now, the session layer used to maintain the session ID or the persist session. Whenever you go, WhatsApp will not ask second time authentication because of the session is valid. That uses session layer, which is exchange between systems. Your WhatsApp and WhatsApp server get connected. Next, it uses TCP/IP protocol to send reliable communication. Right? TCP, it uses TCP. Next, network layer, it uses TCP/IP to reach your ISP like Airtel or Jio or whatever SIM card you are using or whatever internet connection. It uses network layer to reach the respective ISP. Then data transfer between two nodes happens through data link layer. The physical layer is your physical NIC card or a SIM card interface where you are using wire or wired signal to transmit the application traffic. If you ask me, is OSI model happening one by one when you connect to any application? No, it is a parallel process. Your internet already connected, your SIM card already connected with the respective ISP network, your application already installed. So these 7 layers parallelly work to deliver a outcome. In this example, WhatsApp. Take another example, YouTube. You are visited YouTube on browser, opened YouTube homepage. Now you are searching something. You are on layer 7. You are seeing on your eyes the application. That application runs over HTTPS protocol, which is application layer. Now, YouTube may have authentication, or if you didn't log in, it still maintains the session from your browser to YouTube server that go to presentation and session layer. Then it uses TCP or UDP. In this case, it uses UDP transport layer. Your ISP uses IP network to route the UDP packet to YouTube server from US or other country through undersea cable. That uses network layer. Data link layer using the encoding and decoding happens in data link layer. Whatever wired or wireless signal which uses physical layer. So if you take that structure parallelly happening, when exam perspective, let's say you can create a scenario question here. You are using email Outlook client to send an email. That Outlook client fall under which layer, right? The Outlook is an application. So it fall under application layer, which is layer 7. So that's how you need to understand each layer, what work it does. You can read more about understanding if you the my training or the whatever module available on ISC2 is not enough. If you feel, take all 7 topics and understand each layer what it does in computer networking, right? So then the equivalent work, if once you know OSI model, it is so easy to map respective layer in the TCP/IP model. So next concept is IP addressing. To identify unique source and destination, IP address is used. IP address must have 8 octet. We have IPv4 and IPv6 kind of different types. IPv6 is something like you can see hexadecimal digits. So most of the local area network might use IPv4 address, which is private IP ranges, separated by dot. Each number can range from 0 to 255. 8 octets you will see in each IP octet. So 4 octet, like 10, 15, 100, 240. Here, each octet, total 4 octet we have, can go 0 to 255 is the range limit. For example, if you see any IP address with 10.270, which is invalid IP address, because the octet must go from 0 to 255. It never be above 255. If you see above 255, you can clearly tell that is an invalid IP address. The reason I am telling you may be tested against this in the exam. So you must know IP address never be above 255. Right. So to identify source and destination in the local area network, which uses unique IP address, the IP address cannot be duplicated to another system. For example, in my house, I have 3 mobile phone, 2 laptops. In that case, each devices must have unique IP address like 10.0.0.1.2.3.4.5. I have 5 devices. Never be 10.0.0.1 is assigned to one device. Same 10.0.0.1 can be assigned to another device. That never be happened. That is taken care by the Wi-Fi modem, which has DHCP server, which assigns automatically the IP address based on the IP availability. So to avoid the duplicate or collision, this maintains the IP table. From that table, it picks the available IP address to the new device when it connects. Take this as an example. Someone came to your house. They were asking about your Wi-Fi password. You know them. You are giving your password. Now, what will happen? They open their device and go to Wi-Fi SSID and put the password and connecting. That time, the modem aware your house has already might have 6 or 5 devices. I need to assign the next available IP address to that new device. So that's how IP assignment will happen. In corporate network, they may use dedicated DHCP servers, but in our home and our mobile devices has that intelligence. It will only assign next available IP address so that the collision or the duplicate IP address can be avoided. Yeah. So the same topic, IP assignment, we can assign IP manually. That is the olden ways. Go to IP config in the command line, create a IP subnet or IP address manually, inject the IP address. Still, that is doable. Most of the systems will accept even laptop, mobile phone, you can assign manually. But nowadays, mostly people use DHCP as that is simple and convenient. No need to remember which IP available, which IP taken, right? So DHCP is the more convenient way to use IP assignment. Sometime if the device unable to find the DHCP server, then it uses APIPA. What does that mean? Automatic private IP addressing, which uses 169.254 subnet. In computer network or your house, if you have noticed any of the device which has 169.254 IP address, that means that is a temporary IP assigned to that device by that particular router or modem because that couldn't connect to the DHCP server. That is called APIPA. I'm repeating 169.254. If you see, that is called automatic private IP addressing. Exam standpoint, if you see this APIPA keyword or 169.254, you need to correlate this concept. So IP address starting with 127 is called loopback IP address that cannot be used in communicating with another device. The loopback IP address means self-hosting purpose. You are a web developer. You have developed a HTML page or a PHP page. You want to test. You put that server in your laptop itself. You use your browser to see my website, how that looks. Most of the time they use 127.001:8080 or that type of address, right? So what is that called? Your system itself acts as a destination and source. To do that, you need loopback IP address, which is 127.001. So 127.001 is not a valid IP. It is a loopback IP to mimic your same system as a server so that you can connect to the same system from the browser. So if you see 127 in the first octet in the IP, you must know that is called a loopback IP address. So finding a valid IP is an exam perspective as a beginner to computer security. They may assess you against these concepts. If you see value more than 255, that is an invalid IP. If you see first value of the IP is 127, that is again invalid IP because that is used for loopback. If the first value in IPv4 address should never be higher than 223 for public IP addresses. So if you see first octet, If it is more than 223, you just think, that is not a valid IP address. Okay, these three conditions you should keep in mind. IP address never be above 255. If it is starting with 127, it is a loopback. If it is first value of the octet of the IP address is above 223, that is again invalid IP. So next concept is domain name system. As we have seen, system to system is using IP address. Is that easy to communicate using IP address is easy. I mean, human can remember these numbers. Is human can remember these IP addresses to initiate the communication. For example, instead of going to google.com, I need to go to maybe 30.112.14.86. Is that easily remember? We cannot remember numbers, right? If it is easily changing numbers, we cannot remember. So for that, domain name system was introduced. What it does, you can pick your favorite name, your brand name, your business name. You can convert that into domain name with the top level domain. For example, google.com. That .com is a top level domain, which is called a TLD. .in is indicating is an India-based domain. Maybe our website LearnCyberSec.In, right? So it's an India-based, India-hosted site. Next, if you take any business, bbc.co.in or .co.uk, which indicates the respective region, it's easily remember. You can remember easily. First thing, you don't need to remember IP address. Whenever IP address changes, you don't need to inform the user. So many benefit using domain name system. Primarily, you no need to struggle remembering IP address. That's the primary problem domain name system is solving. You just imagine domain name system is a like a phone directory or phone book, which maintains domain name and IP address of all the available domains, registered domains across the globe. For example, if I go to any website, it go to root DNS server and identify what website I have entered, what is the equivalent IP address for that particular domain. So that's how domain name systems helps. So next, okay, we have seen domain name system so far, IP address, TCP/IP protocols, when to use UDP, when to use TCP, OSI layers. So far, we have seen basic cybersecurity concepts. Now come to network ports and applications. Why port is important? What that TCP or the port is referring to here. Start with the simple example, layman term. You have you are sending a letter to your colleague or friend. That letter reached their location, but that location has an apartment. That apartment has 8 houses in that particular apartment. But that entire building called as building number, let's say 100. You put in the address, destination address, your friend name, building number 100, and street and location, letter reached. Now to identify which house your friend is living, you need that house number, right? Same building, but you need building house number 2 or 3. Within that 8, you need to mention any one of the house so that the letter more precisely reach the right house. Exactly same in the networking. The packets will reach the right application using the port number. I have WhatsApp, I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have Gmail, I have ChatGPT. Hundreds of applications running on one system. It could be computer or mobile or tab or laptop. Now, when using single internet connection, how that packets identify which application I need to go, I need to reach, that is taken care by the port number. When you start a session, for example, you are launching a browser and go to chatgpt.com. Your browser using Source port number, let's say it may use dynamic port number, maybe above 49,151. Let's say 49,152 is assigned to your browser source IP, source port. Destination is always 443 for HTTPS enabled application. So now, when ChatGPT send the traffic back to your browser, 49,152 will be used to identify I need to reach the application ChatGPT so that the traffic will not be wrongly routed. So that's one of the primary reason. Also, some of the known applications reserve some of the port number so that port numbers cannot be taken by other applications. We'll see three concepts here. The first one is well-known ports. First of all, the port number ranges from 0 to 65,535. That is the maximum port range. Well-known ports are called 0 to 1023. For example, 80, 443, 1433, 1521. These all are well-known port numbers. If you ask what is the port for SSH, 22. What is the port for HTTP? Port 80. Like known applications are linked with a particular port number that fall under well-known ports, which is 0 to 1023. 10242, 49, 151 is registered port numbers. For example, you are, let's say you have developed a new software, or you are a product company, you are making software for the world. You have a specific requirement, you need to use one port all the time. Then you will file a respective registrar application. Hey, I'm using port number 40,000 in my application. Here is the application details. Here is the purpose, what I'm going to use. I need to register. You need to pay some fee. That port will be assigned to your company, your application. Okay. That is called registered ports. The range from 10242 to 49,151 fall under registered ports. Here is where you can see Microsoft reserved 1433 for SQL, Oracle registered 1521. Many other companies registered many ports. You can see under registered ports. But the port numbers classified into three types: well-known, registered, dynamic. The dynamic port number randomly choose between above 49,151 and till 65,535. That is the maximum range. This dynamic port number primarily used in source port. When you make a connection, source port is always unknown. Destination is clear. ChatGPT.com port number 443 or Google.com port number 443. But source is your browser. Your browser uses dynamic port number in a short time period. As soon as your browser open, that uses particular dynamic port number to connect to the respective application. So exam point, if they give some port, you must know which range fall under which type. You must be able to identify what is well-known ports. What is the range for registered ports? What is the range for dynamic ports? As simple as it is. Single slide. Just remember this number. I put more example here. This will be, I think, clear and straightforward concept. If you have any doubt, and put it on the chat. So next concept, as we are learning computer network, we must know some of the known services. First service, domain name system, which is DNS, which uses port number 53. If someone blocks port number 53 in their firewall, what will happen? They cannot use DNS service. If someone type google.com in the address bar, it will not work because your browser need to reach Google DNS or whatever DNS server configured over port number 53. If someone blocks in the firewall or a host firewall, the particular application will not function because it couldn't reach the DNS service. DNS service uses port number 53. File transfer protocol, which is FTP, which uses 20 and 21. HTTP protocol is a web-based protocol, mostly in browser or any application which uses plain text communication, which uses port 80. The encrypted form of the HTTP protocol is HTTPS, HTTP hypertext transfer protocol, secure protocol where it is encrypted, which is 443. SQL database uses 1433, Oracle uses 1521, Windows Remote Desktop, which is RDP, uses 3389, SMTP, which is Mail Transfer Protocol, uses 25, which is unencrypted. If you remember, if you see protocol port number 25, which is unencrypted, the same service encrypted with 587, which is SMTP encrypted, which uses 587. Most of our nowadays, the mail services might use 587 because if they use SMTP service, which uses encrypted mode, which uses 587. SSH, when you use command line SSH into your server, then it uses port number 22. This particular slide is important when question comes like, what is the port for Microsoft SQL database server? You must know, these are very well-known services. You must know 1433. So exam standpoint, you may expect some question associated with this table. So next topic before go to break, let's talk about Wi-Fi network. Wi-Fi network, here we are going to talk about how we can secure Wi-Fi network. Start with hiding the SSID broadcasting. When you broadcast, when someone enable Wi-Fi and scan, your name is visible. When you disable broadcasting, your name is not visible, but still only known people can connect. This is like you have internet, you have hotspot turned on in your mobile phone. Everyone can see your mobile name while they're scanning, right? If you don't want that to happen, you can disable SSID broadcasting. There is a check mark available in your mobile phone while enabling hotspot. So what security it will provide? The broadcasting will be stopped, so any attacker or any hacker in the network cannot see your SSID. So they know way to connect with a random password or a password dictionary to guess the password and connect to your network. Same applicable for your Wi-Fi modem in your house. You can disable SSID broadcasting so that your neighbors or anyone, the script kiddies nowadays use Android rooted phone and scan all the Wi-Fi SSIDs and identify the password. Use your internet for playing games and downloading stuff. To avoid that, people disable their SSID only in their house. People know what is the SSID user ID, I mean the Wi-Fi name, then they know the password. They input both into the device to connect. Like this is my SSID, let's say my home Wi-Fi. They type home Wi-Fi, then they put the password to connect. The home Wi-Fi is broadcasting is disabled, so our Wi-Fi scanners cannot detect automatically. If someone, let's say attackers come and scan your place, they cannot find the Wi-Fi. This is one way to secure Wi-Fi. Then second one is one of the most common mistake. Many of the people keep password as admin at 123 or default password as it is password 1 or admin 123. They never change whatever password that default came in the Wi-Fi modem. They use as it is. That become a backdoor for people and they change everything. Suddenly you cannot recover your modem. You need to reset. So that may open attacker to connect illegally and change stuff. So primarily, we need to change the default user ID and password. Then pre-shared keys. Pre-shared key is nothing in our terminology, Wi-Fi password. Tell me your Wi-Fi password. That is actually pre-shared key. You are inputting that key in the Wi-Fi modem. You are sharing the key with your members in your house, right? Because the same key matches, Wi-Fi get connected. So, but in our own local term, we call it as Wi-Fi password, but actually that is not correct. The pre-shared keys must be complex enough so that people cannot guess. If I keep my Wi-Fi password as my name, that is easily guessable, right? People first type my name at 123, my vehicle number. These all are very, very common to guess. So it should be complex in nature, maybe using more than 8 characters with upper, uh, the keyword combination, lowercase, uppercase, number, symbol. That combination will help to guess hard, right? So pre-shared keys must be complex. Enterprise authentication. This is not applicable for house. In corporate or companies, they use identity and access management like Azure, ADFS, or Entra ID, Okta. They integrate with the Wi-Fi access point. They use MFA to connect Wi-Fi and authenticate. It's a more complex and secure system for enterprises. But house, this is not possible, enterprise authentication. Captive portal is nothing. When you go to airport or railway station or any star hotels, they provide a captive portal. You need to enter your mobile phone or room number, surname to get access to Wi-Fi, right? That is called the captive portal. The security, what level of security it provides? Captive portal validates who you are, then it will assign Wi-Fi connection to your device, right? That way it validates, authenticates, then assign the connection. But it's not possible in our house, but captive portal is a suitable option for public places like airport, railway station, or common place like hotels. Next, wireless encryption. Since the Wi-Fi evolved last 25, 30 years, Wi-Fi came as a different version. Now whatever we are using is advanced version of the Wi-Fi, whatever latest available, right? So wireless encryption start with the wired equivalent privacy, WEP, which is now no longer safe because it can be we can break this. Someone proved it is not secure. So WEP is called wired equivalent privacy. It's a standard, Wi-Fi standard that is no longer secure. Exam standpoint, if you see WEP, which is, you need to think it is no longer secure. It was a very old Wi-Fi standard. Next, Wi-Fi protected access, WPA, is a temporal key integrity protocol. Next, Wi-Fi protected access version 2, which was released in 2004, encryption still considered as secure and widely used. So WEP is not secure. WPA is also weak because there is a V2 introduced in 2004, which is more secure. Now, Wi-Fi protected access V3 also, in the space, like it uses simultaneous authentication of equals. So now come to the comparison. I put this slide specifically to answer exam questions. When you set no password for your Wi-Fi, which is insecure, which is called open network. You enabled your hotspot, but you didn't set the password. Anyone nearby can connect your internet and raise your usage. That is bad, right? Any hacker or attacker can use your network and do something bad, and you are end up with a problem. Then WEP, that wired equivalent privacy is insecure because someone proved this can be breakable. Then WPA also not secure. WPA2 was introduced in 2000 and WPA3 2004. So far, these two are considered as secure. So if you see exam questions, if they provide all the options, you need to pick which one is most secure. If you see WPA3, that is most secure. Next WPA2, next WPA, WEP, then open network. You need to follow this order, right? To find which is more secure, because 4 options they can give. They ask you to find which one is most secure or least secure. If it is least secure, you need to pick WEP because that is the most weakest thing. If WEP below is open network, nothing, no protection. So in that aspect, you need to be trained on that way, how to find the most secure one in Wi-Fi, how is least secure one in Wi-Fi standard. In our personal experience, in your house, go and check your Wi-Fi, what protocol you are using on your home modem or your office modem or your mobile device, when you enable hotspot, you will get an option drop down which encryption protocol you need to use. You need to choose WPA2 or 3, which is more secure. So if you haven't seen before these concepts, check yourself. This is opportunity to self-verify your networks are protected. Change your default admin password. Disable your Wi-Fi broadcasting, which can be attacked by script kiddies. Nowadays the kiddies uses Android or iOS with routed devices, which has scanner option, which guess all the passwords randomly and identify the right password. There are tools, exploit tools available that would pick your password within 15-20 minutes. They gain your Wi-Fi network access and connect and increase your Wi-Fi usage, and at times they increase your bill as well. So next, before we'll take this quiz and go for a short break. So which one of the following is a valid IP address? Apply that logic. There are conditions which we have seen. Figure out which one could be the right IP address. Guys, come on, very minimum crowd today. Just see if you can participate and respond here. So the first one is 10.274.16.4. The IP address, any octet never be above 255. So the second octet is 274, so that is not a valid IP. 127.10.6.20 is, it start with 127 as 127 assigned to loopback. So next IP is 194.243, 129, 144. Looks like not violating any of the condition. 194 within 255. We haven't seen 127 here. So looks like C is could be a guessable answer. Next one is 241.15.2. Here one challenge is the first octet is 240, which is above 223, which is again invalid IP. So the answer is C here. Quiz 2. Siva is configuring a Wi-Fi network for a user who will be working from home. He would like to configure the network so that it is as strongly protected from eavesdropping as possible. Which encryption standard should Siva use? 4 answers. We need to find which one Shiva should select to secure. So the first one is WEP wired equivalent privacy, which is breakable. WPA2, yeah, could be. WPA3 is most secure. WPA4 not exist. So WPA3 is the answer. So we'll cover after a short 5 minutes break the network threats and attacks. All right, everyone, I'm back. So like system, application, device, laptops, we have threats, right? Similarly, there are threats would impact computer networks. So in this section, we'll see what are the threats computer networks will be impacted by. So primarily the types of threats, the very famous attacks are related to DDoS, virus, worm, Trojan, man-in-the-middle, and side channel attacks will impact computer network. So the virus, primarily we need to focus on the definition. What is virus? Spreads from system to system based on user action. So here, user action is needed. It spreads from system to system, but we need user input. So this must be opening an email attachment, clicking a link, inserting an infected USB drive. Virus don't spread unless someone trigger or activate them. Therefore, one of the best ways to protect against virus is through user education. Until user do something, virus will not spread. Right? That's clear. Next, worms. Worms spreads from system to system without user interaction. They spread under their own power. What does that mean? Once worm inserted into your system, if multiple systems are interconnected, it can spread from one system to another system. That's how it is programmed, the worms. Trojan horse, the pretend to be a legitimate application, but later it does some backdoor operations. For example, user visit a Google and search for some software and installed that software on the device. Looks for user perspective, user was searching some legitimate application, let's say PDF converter. User searched down online, downloaded PDF converter and installed. But that PDF converter may have another application which is malware, which can do backdoor operation like stealing the data or giving remote access to hacker. That type of operation, if it does, which is called Trojan horses. Yeah. So most significant threats for computer security fall under malwares. Malwares are nothing, some malicious programs or codes, which is come in the form of virus, worms, Trojan horse. Next, man in the middle, eavesdropping attacks. These are called on-path attacks. So man in the middle attack, DNS poisoning or R poisoning. What does that mean? I go to google.com, but the google.com IP address changed to hacker IP address. We end up connecting to hacker server. Hacker server hosted with similar as Gmail login page. They harvest the credential and backend they connect to the actual user account to the take over the account. So this is still possible. For example, you are accessing google.com. Someone sitting on your Wi-Fi network and injected malicious DNS server. That DNS server route your traffic to malicious Google web page where you are inputting your credential that can be taken over. Denial of service attacks disrupt the availability, right? So keep sending some bogus packets or off packet TCP connection to utilize the CPU memory, and that system will go run out of memory. That become impacting the availability. The DDoS, single time attacking from multiple sources. This is like coordinated attacks. Let's say hacker group from China, Russia, or Korea work together. Let's say 3 combined group attacking one web application, one country. That is called, distributed denial of service, because the attack source is distributed. This is not only country to country, within the country, multiple location. Let's say Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, different location attackers comes from and attacking same web server. Then that is called, DDoS attack. So to protect these attacks, DNS or poisoning can be mitigated by using secure DNS. Man in the middle attacks can be mitigated by using encryption. DOS attacks you mitigated by respective ISP providers, because this cannot be achieved via any single product. Coordination with ISP and respective CDN providers like Akamai, Cloudflare, they offer DDoS protection as a service. Side channel attack, you need physical access to the system. Once you reach the system, based on the electromagnetic signal and a few other characteristics, they guess what type of encryption, what type of processing logics being used to encrypt or decrypt the packet. Based on that, they copy the algorithm and capture the packet and decrypt. So side channel attack need physical access. So protecting from system from physical access, such as keeping a data center secure. No one can reach the server or where the server is hosted. That can be way to mitigate side channel attacks, but still side channel attacks is powerful when attackers have access to the physical server. Next quiz time. Samraj is the system administrator for a small business network that is experiencing security problems. He is in the office one evening working on the problem and nobody else is there. As he is watching, he can see the system on the other side of the office that were previously behaving normally or now exhibiting signs of infection one after other. Which type of malware is Samraj likely dealing with? So here, as per this question, what we are realizing, something happening itself, which malware without any interaction, it does the job. That's the logic we need to figure out. This is not just a straightforward. So we need to understand the logic here because Samraj is in the office, no one else. Suddenly systems are, he's experiencing signs of infection. No user input, that is clear. Virus need user interaction. Worms, to spread worms, no input is needed. Trojan horse, human input is needed. Human go and install a legit software, what user think, but that is not a legit software that is loaded with malware. Logic bomb that only triggers when that logic met. Now, worm is the most suitable answer among given 4 options. Next, quiz 4. Which one of the following statements about denial of service attack is incorrect? Slightly tricky because if it is correct, our brain thinks straight. They are asking question, what is incorrect for DOS attack? They originate from many different sources. They can disrupt the availability of the system. They require large amount of bandwidth. They are easily detectable. Which one of the statement about denial of attack is incorrect? Okay, so let's see the answer. They originate from many different sources. Yeah, that is correct because, denial of service attack is incorrect. When originate from many different sources, which is called under DDoS, they can disrupt the availability. Yes, DDoS and DOS both disrupt the availability. They require large amount of bandwidth. Yes, it consumes bandwidth because more packets consume more bandwidth. They are easily detectable. DOS is easily detectable because only one source sending more number of packets. So the incorrect answer here is first one. They originate from many different sources is for DDoS, which is distributed denial of service. So here the incorrect answer is first one. What is correct? Rest all threes are correct. DOS can disrupt the availability. DOS require large number of bandwidth. DOS easily detectable. So answer is 1. Threat identification and prevention. How we can mitigate virus worms, right? Using antivirus. If you use antivirus, it uses signature detection based technology to identify known virus and prevent. Then behavior based analysis. For example, every day the application automatically opens at 8 a.m. Next 15 minutes, it compute more power on the laptop, send some large chunk of packets. That behavior is not normal, right? So based on that behavior pattern, antivirus detects something is wrong with the application. Let's block that application. That is behavior detection. Next, we have intrusion detection and prevention, which is called IDS and IPS. Intrusion detection, based on the TCP UDP pattern and application behavior, it detects and send the signal to SOC analyst or log it in the events. Intrusion prevention is proactive. As soon as it detects, it blocks the communication. It has that capability to block. But intrusion detection is reactive. It only sends the logs events to the another pipe or a SOC team or a event manager where administrator should monitor and take the action. Intrusion detection can be used as a monitoring purpose. Intrusion prevention can be used as enforcing the policy because it blocks the connection. So in IDS and IPS, we have network-based IPS, network-based IDS. What is network-based? What is host-based? Host is a Windows laptop or whatever endpoint. Network is your network path. It could be firewall, router, or anything in the middle of the network path. In Windows, if you have IDS or IPS, if you have IDS, it monitors and log everything. If you have IPS, host-based IPS, it detects and blocks. Whenever you have worm or malware or Trojan horse trying to communicate to the backend server, when the pattern it identifies, IPS will block, IDS just log and send the alerts to the administrator. So the primary use of IDS and IPS, it safeguard the network, right? Because it monitors, it safeguard if anything goes wrong. Because as a human, we cannot sit down all the time monitoring what packet goes, what packet comes in, right? But IDS, IPS does this job, which has signature detection as well as anomaly detection. What is signature? What is anomaly? Signature, I write a code. First three packets, SYN. After that, there is a SYNAC. The pattern, like that's how the virus works. Was already someone published a signature or the flow, how that particular virus works. That is added as a signature. Whenever that pattern matches, that apply the signature and IDS IPS detects the traffic and apply the action. If it is IPS, it blocks. If it is IDS, it sends the logs to admin. What is anomaly? Anomaly detection is, let's say everyday user log into Salesforce or any application, they work for 4 hours, they go home. But suddenly 1 GB of data sent to some other application, which is abnormal. Or suddenly the malware is trying to communicate to 10 other servers that never ever happened in that host device. This is creating anomaly. Everyday pattern is user come, Salesforce, access Salesforce or SAP SAP application, work and go home. Suddenly that application, that device connects 10 different IP address, 10 different country. That is behavior wise different, right? So that is called anomaly. As soon as that type of anomaly is detected, IDS and IPS takes their respective action. If it is IDS, it logs the event and send to the SOC team or alert management. If it is IPS, based on the action, it contain or block the respective transaction. That's how it protects computer network. Next important terminology, exam standpoint, you must know what is false positive, what is false negative. False positive, you have write a rule, take IDS. IDS supposed to detect virus. Okay, you have write a rule. If there is an application called virus.exe that communicate to IP address 1.1.1.1, trigger an alert. This is called signature. You have given the signature to IDS. Now, what is false positive? There is another application which triggers 1.1.1, not virus.exe. It triggers the alert. When you check, that is not virus.exe, some other application. Now, what is happening here? Your signature was not effective. Because of that, you get false positive. You get an alert. But when you investigate, that is not proven true. That is called false positive. For false negative, actually there was a virus. The signature what you have put didn't detect that actual virus. That is here false negative. This happens in the cybersecurity or network world. Whenever you write a signature-based rules, when that rule is ineffective, then false negative will hit hard. When rule wrongly applied, instead of correct alert, you get too much alert in terms of applying wrongly, then you get mostly false positive. False positive, when you investigate, it become a normal operation or normal events that detected as virus. In false negative, true virus event missed with some of the signature not effective. So false positive and false negative must be balanced. We need to tune again and again to reach the level it accurately works, right? Not all the signatures are straightforward and simple. Some signatures are really difficult and it may detect each and every action as alert. When you investigate, it become a false positive. How this will interrupt in the business? Let's say you have 5 people in the SOC team. Suddenly 1 lakh alerts came. These 5 people cannot handle. They need to understand the pattern and they will ignore the logs. That's how false positive will disrupt the business. The only way we need to tune feedback, whether it is correct, test, again test, put the real-time virus in the test environment and whether validate whether firewall is effective, host to detect IDS or IPS are working as expected, then get the outcome, implement that in the production environment. So false positive and false negative must be taken care. Next component safeguarding the computer network is firewall. So in firewall, in old legacy firewall, there would be only minimum capability. It work on based on source, destination, allow block. It only checks source IP, destination IP, allow block based on the traffic. But now advanced next generation firewall, which uses application, protocol, port number, signatures, multiple other things nowadays than latest firewall does. But this exam perspective, firewall used to protect different network. Within the network, you can segregate. For example, within your office network, there is a DMZ zone, which has DMZ firewall, which is connected to web server, internet facing. You have internal network, which has another firewall, internal firewall, that never talk to public or never accept traffic from public, which is more secure. So your database, your crown jewel, or any secure application located behind internal firewall, whatever public facing, your email server, your web server, or some customer accessing some web form, these all fall under DMZ zone. So the zone concept exists. DMZ zone, internal zone, DMZ firewall, internal firewall, they segment and apply the respective firewall rule. So that way firewall segregates network to network communication within the company campus or enterprises. Now quiz time. Jaya recently analyzed the result of a vulnerability scan report and found that a vulnerability reported by the scanner didn't exist because the system was actually patched as specified which type of error occurred. There was an alert. There was an alert when she trying to investigate. It was not exist. Whether it is false positive, false negative, true positive, true negative. What would be the answer? We have seen only two things: false positive and false negative. So answer must be lies between two. So take the chat and respond. So here, Jaya trying to read the vulnerability report, she went ahead and investigated the system that vulnerability not exist. There was an alert, action taken, but not proved that was vulnerable. So here it is false positive. The reason behind that, there was an alert, but due to some reason that is not proven correct. The alert was invalid now. That is false positive. False negative. Jaya received a report, everything good, but when Jaya go ahead and investigated, there was a miss in the patch update, then it is false negative. So here answer is false positive. Network security infra protection, again, when it comes to data center or physical server protection, we need to protect respective infrastructure. So most of the servers, network equipment stored in a data center, the data center environment, like physical weather environment, must be maintained as per the standard. The air temperature in the data center between 64.4 to 80.6 degrees Fahrenheit is the recommended range for data center. Air temperature 64.4, 80.6 Fahrenheit, degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity, okay, the humidity using dew point recommended to maintain dew point between 49.9 and 50.0 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so the primary reason for this particular air temperature and humidity, as you know, always data center is cold, less temperature maintained because the processor, hardware, RAM, memory storage, these produce heat. If more heat produces, the lifetime of the equipments will degrade. To fix that, the respective recommended air temperature and humidity must be maintained. The air temperature 64.4 to 8.6, humidity in dew points 49.9 to 41.9 and 50.0 is the degree Fahrenheit. The dew point should be maintained. Again, the data centers are prone to fire incidents. So in particular damage, the fire, the type of fire solvent in that red color pipe you might have seen in the corporate buildings, that water cannot be used in data center because water conducts electric as well as it can spoil the devices. If that accidentally or really fire incident happens, we may lose the data or our equipment, right? So they use different foam-based fire protection mechanism in the data center. Next logic is cloud computing. In cloud computing, we know we are just moving our data center to cloud. We are not loading anything locally. We are just offloading things to cloud. In cloud computing, we have horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Okay. So in horizontal scaling, when your business become popular or more and more customers using your services, you are keep adding the additional resources. Let's say you have EC2 instance in AWS. Let's say 8 GB, 16 GB servers. Now, due to more load, you are adding additional 8 GB onto the same server. So now you are keep increasing, which is horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling, instead of adding resources, you are adding another full server. Let's say server 1 has 8 GB, server 2 added another 8 GB, server 3 added another 8 GB. So 24 GB splitted into 3 unique individual server is called vertical scaling. So if you scale by adding the resources, is horizontal scaling. If you are adding another node with necessary resources, vertical scaling. Straightforward cloud computing concept. These two are the important concepts. Next, cloud type. The deployment model, private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, community cloud. Start with community cloud. Community cloud is nothing but 2 to 3 organizations combined together and they use the same cloud shareable information. Take IIT Madras and Anna University Chennai. Both are educational institutions. They go and buy one particular cloud service for collaboration. Professors in Anna University and professors in IIT Madras, they combine together and develop some projects in the same particular cloud environment. Both have access to same level of resources, no data security control or no restriction needed. They are collaborated and working for the same purpose. In that case, community cloud should help. Like this is applicable for even companies, same goal. Let's say Google Developer Cloud as well as the Mozilla Firefox Developer Cloud uses same course to develop next browser or a beta project. Then they go to same cloud environment. They share the resources each other to combine and bring a new solution to the world. That is called community cloud. Hybrid cloud uses companies' on-premise resources as well as cloud resources. Simple term, I use my web server in EC2. My database is in my office local physical database server. But my website has an application form which connects to database. Now both work together to deliver the website, right? So that is hybrid, cloud and on-prem. What is public cloud? I put everything into AWS, my database, my web server, all the components in AWS. Simple public cloud. When it comes to private cloud, within public cloud, I can create separate private VPC that only accessible by some of the resources. I control the internet egress ingress point. That is called private cloud. So I control access control, who need to access, shouldn't access that particular component or services fall under private cloud. So next, we are almost, reaching towards conclusion. So here, this is just analogy. What we need to understand here, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. What is infrastructure as a service? What is platform as a service? What is software as a service? You must know exam standpoint, these three fundamental cloud-based architecture. What is infrastructure as a service? Take as a layman term, you need to cook something. You have dining table, you have drinks, you have electric, gas, oven, fire, right? Dining table, drinks, electric, gas, oven, fire, you manage. You offload to someone whatever ingredients, tomato sauce, toppings, cheese need for pizza, that is ready-made, you can consuming from someone. Like 50-50. You have 50 responsibility, the another 50% offloaded to someone else. Next, what is platform as a service? You only own dining table and drinks, electric, oven, fire, pizza dough, tomato sauce, toppings, cheese are offloaded to someone else. You pay them and get the service. You are completing your meal. So that way, platform as a service, maybe 80% of the work offloaded to service provider, only 20% you control. What is software as a service? Simple, I go to restaurant, order pizza and eat. Dining table, whatever ingredients, how to cook, everything taken care by that restaurant, right? So I pay money, I use the service. That is software as a service. Just to give you plain layman term example, we use this slide. This is not the actual slide for exam perspective. The next one. In IaaS, infrastructure as a service, networking, storage, servers, virtualization taken care by service provider. On top, you will install OS, you will install application, you will load the data, you will install the application and connecting the data. That is taken care by you, which is called infrastructure as a service. Take an example. I need to host 150 Linux servers. It's the business requirement. You go and get the IaaS service from AWS. AWS will provide you virtualization, servers, storage, networking taken care by AWS. You need to install 150 Linux endpoint. You need to install on top of Linux what application your user need to use. On top, you need to load the data, what data user need to access from the 150 Linux servers. This is called infrastructure as a service. Okay. AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, many other cloud providers offering this model. You no need to purchase OS. You can install your own OS. On top, you can build your application. This is scalable. This is, but the headache side, you are responsible for OS, middleware, runtime, data, and application. Platform as a service. Service provider take care of the OS, middleware, runtime on top of underlying components, hardware, storage, network. You only install top application, let's say Mozilla Firefox browser or Chrome browser or a Salesforce, that only you install that application and feed the data and give access to the user, which is called platform as a service. SaaS, software as a service, you go and buy the service ready-made. For example, O365 or Salesforce or any public application like Gmail. You are not running application, you are not running OS, you don't know where they hosted. You simply pay money, you use their service. Even the Zoho, SecureWorks, many applications, they just offering SaaS model. Monthly, they send you bill. You just need to pay them. You can use everything that is auto scalable. They take care of all the headache. So these three model you must know in terms of exam perspective. IAS, PAS, SAS. On-site is very simple. Everything you hosted on your local office, you need to take care of the hardware. You need to take care of the computer network, ISP connection, storage, software installation. Whenever needed, you need to scale. All the responsibility taken care by you on-site. When it comes to IAS, PAS, SAS, security is shared responsibility because the underlying hardware components managed by the vendor, but still your application data managed by your employees, right? So always security is shared responsibility. They will not be responsible fully for each and every area. They made a contract. When you use IAS or PAS or SaaS, partial security responsibility fall under your side. Let's say your employees insider threat and took data and send it to outside market, then it become a security incident. That may impact your business, right? So that is not service provider fault. That is your employee fault, right? So that way they put shared responsibility. They never take full responsibility. When it comes to on-site or on-prem, everything you need to take care. You are taking care of all the underlying components, software, hardware, application, user, access, storage, data. Also in the security, you are responsible fully for that particular because you are taking care of all the components. Hope this concept is clear. Exam perspective, you definitely expect questions from IAS, PAS, SAS. So the security and shared responsibility model just I spoke. We can move on from this slide because the same concept when you outsource your work to AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, purely shared responsibility model. You need to read, understand their terms and conditions, service level agreements, so that you know which area you need to control, which area the vendor will control. So come to an end, open for questions. If anyone has any questions, post it on the chat or unmute and speak. If no questions, I have one announcement. I will just quickly talk about that. All right, seems no questions. So the announcement is coming December 20th. Me and Shubham combined together will be organizing 4 weekends, Sunday 2 to 4 p.m. IST time, ethical hacking and bug bounty introduction fundamental course. If any of you interested, sign up under LearnCyberSec.In. As already we posted last week in our group and the community, almost 50 plus people already signed up. The maximum seat we are expecting 100. As this fundamental course might help someone to become an ethical hacker, understanding web attacks. As a working professional, when you know more attack types, you protect more from the threats. That side, we are trying to focus offensive and defensive in this particular course. If you found that is interested for you, feel free to sign up. I will continue to post it in every group, maybe next couple of days to reach maximum. You can also share it in your network and circle, as we don't know who all are real ethical hackers in the night and daytime. They work regularly, as many people has side hustle and passion as ethical hacking. So share the poster and respective sign up messages to reach the maximum. So with that, I conclude. We'll share the recordings probably next day, tomorrow or day after. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the weekend. Bye-bye.